What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. So, the season's over, of course, and very disappointing season, very disappointing ending. Maybe they ended a little bit better. It would have feel different, but probably wouldn't, because even if they lost by 1 or 30 or however many, it still would feel bad. Because to me, they had the better team, they had the better coach. To me, they had the best player in the series in Kawhi, and they still found a way to lose and give away games. And you can't give away games when you're trying to win a championship or when you're trying to win a 7-game series. You just can't do it. They gave away 2 games that they could have won. And they really just didn't play up to their level of potential to me. And I will say, Ty Lue definitely didn't make some adjustments I thought he could have made. He made one adjustment in the series at second half, but obviously that wasn't good enough to help him win the series. When he put Nicholas Batum in Game 6 and let him, do his thing, and they won Game 6, and then you go into Game 7, you don't use that same strategy and feed off of it. I think that was a mistake, but we can go back and forth about a lot, but they still lost. And, the one thing that former player, Kendrick Perkins said about this situation is you got to get off James Harden. James Harden is not a guy that you can trust in big moments. As much as we could put blame on everybody else on the team, you got to put a lot of blame on James Harden. You can't come out there with under 10 points and take under 10 shots. That's clearly somebody who's not mentally engaged to the point where he's trying to win. That's clearly somebody who doesn't want that pressure. That's clearly somebody who doesn't want to take blame, who doesn't want to take accountability. And he tried to defer and be a passer. That's not who the Clippers needed at that point. And even Perkins said, he tricked everybody, because the whole season he was playing, really good. And, a lot of people thought this time maybe he might step it up in the playoffs in a Game 7 where it really mattered. And he showed up in Game 6 like he's done before. But in that Game 7, he folded. He choked. And when you have a player like that who plays that way and who doesn't come through in the clutch when you need him to, or who doesn't even apply themselves to come through, because he could at least took more shots. And I think everybody probably would have been mentally okay with that. At least you go out swinging. You go out with minimal effort and you're okay with that. Honestly, if the Clippers keep James Harden after that performance, I think Kawhi Leonard should just want to ask for a trade and leave. Because you can't win with a second star like that. You got to win with somebody who has more of the sense of urgency of trying to win rather than just trying to, fill up the stat sheet, rather than just try to look good in the regular season. And James Harden is not a system. He's a failure. That's exactly what he is, and exactly what he has been. A failure. So, the way Perkins put that, about how James Harden tricked everybody and had everybody thinking, he can probably do something different this time and come up short like that. You can't win with a player like that. You can't do it. You can't win with a player like that at all. You just can't do it. And as much as a lot of people might like James Harden and love his game, the way his game is and how it looks, and how he can break people down off the dribble with the step back threes and all that don't win championships. It don't. You got to know how to play team basketball. You got to know how to take care of the basketball. And you got to be able to step up when your number is called. And that's not something you can rely on James Harden to do. So if Kawhi wants to win a championship, honestly, he better talk to the front office and ask them to either let James Harden go and do a sign and trade, maybe for another player, another couple players, or maybe try to go out and get Giannis, somebody who's going to really actually be there to help him win these games. because even though Kawhi might not have put the most output in that Game 7, he still had 22 points. He still shot a great percentage. And before his team checked out on him, he was trying. And he was playing good. But nobody else showed up. Just like game number 2. None of the big names barely showed up. And he put on a virtuoso performance that kept them in that game and helped them win that game. When you have a team full of defenders like they have, when you have a Norman Powell, who a lot of people said could be an all-star this year or should have been, when you have a James Harden, who's looked at as one of the most prolific scorers ever in history, it shouldn't take a virtuoso performance from him to win a game like that. And they only won it by 3. They didn't even win the game by 10 points plus. Because in that game, nobody showed up for him either. He just was so magnificent that game 2, it was undeniable to see. But I think he would have had the same output this game if he had somebody coming with him. But when that lead swelled up and it's like nobody else is making shots, and it's like the frustration mounts with the team. Kawhi is smart enough to know when he has a championship cast around him and guys who really want to play. And I'm not saying the guys didn't want to play at all, but they weren't locked in enough. Especially not when they got down by a whole lot of points. You give up 37 points in that second quarter when you was up 26-21 in the first quarter of Game 7. That's inexcusable. Now, Kawhi takes blame, too, because he's a part of the team. But at the same time, you got to have your second star ride with you. You got to. And James Harden is just not somebody you can trust. I've always said that. He's always been the guy I never trusted in the playoffs. And it's a reason why a lot of other people don't either. Because he's always shown us in big moments, he disappears. And he did it again. And he can't be trusted. So the Clippers have to move on from James Harden. If they keep him, I honestly hope Kawhi goes somewhere else. I really do. Because sometimes it's just not in a player to be a clutch player. Every player is not clutch. Some can hit shots at big moments when it doesn't matter as most. Some can hit it when it means the most. Some could be there when it's most when they're most needed and counted on or need to be counted on. And James is not that. And he never really has been. One reason why he's never even got to a finals, besides when he was with OKC as the sixth man coming off the bench with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, the 2 superstars, way back in the day when they were like kids, basically. So, I don't know. But as far as James Harden himself, he's never been a winner. Never have been. And I really hate this for Kawhi because Kawhi deserves to win. He came back this year. He played, the games he could in the regular season. He was healthy for the playoffs. No hiccups. He did good in the playoffs, averaging 25 points a game in the playoffs. And I think he would have got better as the rounds went on. But we'll never know that now. And James Harden is another disappointment. So I think Kendrick Perkins is right. And I think the Clippers should move on from him. Don't waste time. Because now it looks like they should have kept players like Russell Westbrook, who at least go out there and give you energy. At least go out there and fight. Somebody who will be a voice in the locker room. Somebody who can't shoot. May turn the ball over some. But at least you could never question his effort. Because I've never questioned Russell Westbrook's effort. And I don't think nobody else ever has either. Effort goes a long way. It goes even further than talent sometimes. So Russ had the last laugh between him and James Harden, because James Harden said something about the personnel was the problem with the Clippers last year. We know who he was talking to. But who's laughing now? It's not James Harden.